Today I'm going to talk about one of the biggest keys to recovering from anxiety disorder. This could help you with your panic disorder, your health anxiety, your generalized anxiety disorder. There are a lot of things that come into recovery. We've talked about routine before, that structure that you need, like the to-do list. We've really talked about exposure, which is huge. That's a big chunk of recovery right there. And our response. But there's something else that is not discussed enough, and that is being able to look at your past, look at the evidence that you have that suggests that you're healthy and that you're not dying of a disease or of a heart problem or cancer, and the evidence that you've gotten from your doctor, but also the evidence that you didn't die yesterday whenever you thought you were going to die, okay? And this doesn't have to just be a health anxiety thing. It could be your worst fears or the worst thoughts, the irrational and the intrusive thoughts that you had did not in fact come true time and time and time again. The problem is whenever we feel something, whether it be physical or we have a negative thought, intrusive or a very irrational thought that comes out of nowhere, we give it weight, we make the same mistake and we respond in fear. It magnifies it, makes it more intense, makes it seem more real. If it's a negative thought, then the symptoms come with it. Sorry, my daughter's going crazy in there. If it is a symptom and it intensifies, then all the negative thoughts start to intensify and surround it, and it becomes a bigger problem, and it can ruin our entire day because the momentum is not in our favor because of our response. I'm going to give you some examples of this, okay? If you do a workout, right, and you start to feel triggered, but you felt a little triggered yesterday when you did your workout, and you thought for sure you were going to die because you have, like, let's say heart anxiety, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die and all this, but you never did die. In fact, after it kind of settled down, you actually felt great. You felt proud that you got through it. Now today you're going through your workout and you feel some of those same sensations, and you've already been checked out by a doctor. Your heart's healthy, your body's good, right? You have to quickly, and I'm talking about within a few seconds, and it's going to take you time to get this response time down. Within a few seconds, you have to turn to evidence. Yesterday, I felt the same thing, and I made it through. I got through it, and in fact, the rest of the day turned out to be pretty decent. I can get through this again. It doesn't necessarily make the symptom completely go away, but by having that response, it's a different response from a fearful one, right? Like, oh my God, what's this? I want to die again. Instead of, going back to your past and realizing, like, this happened to me yesterday and it happened to me the day before. I have to respond differently, and I have to respond quickly and turn to the evidence that I already have that I'm healthy. And guys, a lot of you have tons of evidence, whether it be testing that you've gotten from your doctors or the ER visits, or pushing through workouts whenever you felt symptoms and you still got through it. You have the evidence. Once again today, I woke up. Who would have thought? Some of you that have these off-the-wall irrational thoughts or intrusive thoughts and they scare the hell out of you, you're not alone. But that's not who you are. You're not that intrusive thought. That didn't happen yesterday. It's not going to happen today. So we have to stop giving it that power, which is giving it fear, right? Giving it a fearful response. So I encourage you throughout your day to start turning to evidence. If it helps, and this is what I tell everybody that I coach, right? You need to compile the evidence that you're healthy or that contradicts the fears or the symptoms that you have. You need to compile it. For some of you, that could be all the tests that you've gotten, all the doctor's visits, all the diseases that you thought you had that you didn't end up having. Get a workout journal, all the workouts that you completed, where either you were triggered or you weren't. See, I'm healthy. I get through these. I never die. I never get sick from that. I get worried. I get scared, and that makes the symptoms come up. And it's normal to get triggered, guys, if you have exercise, because you're getting your vitals up. And then you start to worry, and then they intensify. And then we stop working out, right? Or you push through it. You have evidence right there if you get through the workout that you are okay. This is why I also encourage everybody that I talk to, do your workout in the beginning of the day, so later on when you're sitting on the couch and you feel your symptoms, you can look back to your workout and be like, look, something would have happened then, right? It would have happened in my workout, not when I'm sitting right here on the couch. So start compiling evidence. Write this stuff down. Make a video of yourself reading all these things. Go through your evidence every single morning. Read it out. And then whenever you are in these situations, right, you're driving, you're like, man, I know yesterday, you know, if you feel the symptoms come up, I know yesterday whenever I was going to go pick up the kids from school, man, I felt like I was for sure going to die and pass out while I was driving. I was speeding on the way home. I thought I was going to die. And then, you know what? But I didn't die. I didn't die. And in fact, and I thought it was a medical emergency. I was about to have a stroke or something. And then I got back, and then guess what? It started to get better because I made it back to my safe spot. And disease doesn't work like that. So you have to take that situation the next time when you're in a car and be like, okay, this is some of the stuff that I felt yesterday. And it is tough, I ain't gonna lie, whenever you feel something new. That's a challenge all on its own. But especially if you're feeling the same sensations and feelings and some of the same thoughts happening in these situations, but you make it through day after day after day after day, you have to start realizing, like, these thoughts don't have to be true. They don't have to have power, right? They are just thoughts, right? They're not your reality. There's no evidence to that. Or these symptoms don't have to be the result of a disease or a medical emergency. And the thing when it comes down to health anxiety is that pretty much all of you have zero evidence that this is an actual health problem. And I say most of you have zero evidence. And guess what? You've got all this overwhelming evidence that you need to actually record and say to yourself that there's nothing physically wrong with you and that you have anxiety. Yes, it gives physical symptoms, but you know what I mean? And you don't have an actual disease, okay? So you need to do your exposure. You need to have your routine. You need to respond correctly throughout the day. But when these symptoms hit hard, go to the evidence that you have. I was here just yesterday, or I was here last week, and I didn't die then. I'm not going to die now. If you want more help with your recovery, Elite Anxiety Bootcamp is in the description and in the first pinned comment. It's extensive and not expensive, where it seems like today every program is like in the thousands of dollars. I got you covered there. I did that on purpose, so tons and tons of people could actually afford this and get the help that they are needed. Tons of reviews have come out. I'll give you one here in just a second. It's changing lives. I want you to be a part of that. So take advantage of that if you're wanting a step-by-step guide. And like I said, there's a lot that goes into recovery, a routine, the mindset, the awareness, the education part of it. Once you understand how anxiety works, you're going to be a little less fearful of it, if that makes sense. Aaron Matt says, thank you again for your boot camp. I've went through the course and still revisit and rewatch. I started the boot camp right after Thanksgiving. Latest update, my doctor took me off my blood pressure medication and at half dose of the other couple meds I'm on. Was on all of these meds due only to anxiety and panic disorder. Recovery is obtainable. Thank you again. One-on-one coaching info is also down below. Take advantage of that. I talk to people on the phone pretty much every day to help them with their anxiety. So my email for that is down below if you're interested. I will send you over the details. There's also a link for online therapy if you want to do the therapy thing, which is great. I encourage you to do coaching and therapy, get experience, and also get an actual licensed therapist to help you out. If you want to do that and you're having trouble making appointments or you're having trouble driving or whatever, you can actually do this on the phone or on the laptop. I'll put a link down there and they got you covered there. But guys, subscribe if you're new. I love you all and you're going to get through this. Keep fighting.